I had cancer. September is ovarian cancer month, and because of that, it is a very good time to share my cancer testimony. If you want to hear about my story, then stay tuned. Hello, people in the world. My name is Hannah, and I'm giving you your dose of this week's Hope and Future Bible devotions. This YouTube channel aims to help those who are young and the young at heart overcome life with the help of the Bible. So if you're new here, then welcome. I got stage 2B ovarian cancer. During the first year of my marriage, I wanted to have myself checked just to make sure that everything is doing okay. That was in 2015. There was an ultrasound that was done. It's weird because the med tech would say that I was polycystic, but I had regular periods. So when I was speaking to the OB, she didn't think that it added up. What she did was that she said, okay, you know what? Let's just go back to it in the future. That was also the time when we were planning to go back here to the US. With that said, I kind of forgot about it and I just made sure to settle here in the US. I continued to try to keep a healthy lifestyle. I ate well, I exercised. We were trying to have a baby. For 2 years we were trying and we couldn't get pregnant. Because of that, I thought about going to the doctor finally. I went to a general OBGYN. He checked me. One of the things that he did was do an ultrasound. What they saw was that there was a cyst. It was 9 centimeters. And at first he was saying, oh no, this doesn't mean too much. There was a cyst. There was a fibroid. We didn't really think that it was anything. I wasn't worrying at that time. And then there's something called a CA-125, which he requested for me to take in my blood. The normal findings would be 35 and below. My findings were 1600. That was the point where he transferred me to a specialist. We got to this hospital. It's called UCI. At first, because of my age, my doctor was thinking that it wasn't anything to worry about. That was a month later from the time that I had myself checked by a general OBGYN. This time, he got my CA-125 again, since it's been a month. And when he got the findings, it was at 1900. So it went up by 300, and that was alarming at this point. During the first week of September 2019, I had my surgery to remove one of my ovaries and the fallopian tube that was connected to it. I was opened up in the middle. It was not laparoscopic. It was a real surgery. I went through healing after that. During that time, I was like, yay, it's gone. I can finally go on with my life. And well, of course, I had to heal. The next week, I had a follow-up checkup. And that was when my doctor broke the news to me that in the biopsy of the specimen that they got from that ovary that they'd removed, it was found that I did have stage 2B ovarian cancer. Following that, the doctor said that I couldn't have kids anymore. That's when I felt like cold water was splashed on me. The doctor saw me really crying about it and very sad about what I found out. And that's when he said, do you really want to have a kid? And when I said, if it is still possible, then I'd like to have any options. There was an option presented. He said that, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll do 3 chemos. On the 3rd chemo, we're gonna inject another medication on you. My eggs would be harvested and I could have a biological kid through a surrogate. After that, that's when we'll have the surgery, remove everything, and then continue the 3 last chemo sessions. I was like, okay, well, that sounds like a plan. Arrangements were already being made with regard to the treatment And then I realized that I had to change insurances at that very moment too. So I couldn't continue with UCI. Finally, I went to Kaiser. That was my new health insurance. And I changed doctors as well. When I went to that doctor, he told me, okay, we'll proceed with the surgery to remove your ovaries. And I was like, wait, this other doctor said that I can have this other option where I can still have kids. I was talking to my doctor from Kaiser, and I told him about what UCI said with regard to the possibility of still having a biological kid. But he said, you know, your cancer is already metastatic, meaning it's already spreading quickly. But when I was still pushing it, he said, okay, you know what we'll do? I'll send you to a fertility doctor. You can see what she says. With that, I was brought to San Bernardino. So that's about a 2-hour drive from where I live. I took that long drive because I think it's worth the shot just to know if I would have a chance to still have a kid. Because if I make that decision right there and then it's lost forever. So 2 hours, I was driving. While I was driving, I was like, why is this so hard? I was alone driving for 2 hours, thinking that I would have to go to that clinic for the harvesting of the eggs. I would have to go there every week. I was like, this is a long drive to and from the hospital. That was what it was in my mind at that time. But anyway, I continued. I finally met the doctor. She was a very nice doctor. She was very motherly too. When I told her about the procedure that the doctor at UCI said, she looked at my medical records and she said, you know, dear, I'm not supposed to be doing this, but as a mother and looking at you, you have almost the same age as my daughter. And she said that if I were talking to my daughter, I would tell her not to go with this procedure. And that procedure is the harvesting of eggs. The reason is that if I put this medication, it will multiply the eggs in your body, but it will also multiply your cancer cells. She would say that, yes, we do have your eggs, but we wouldn't have you anymore. I appreciated her honest opinion with regard to the situation, and I went home. I drove back home and I told my husband, and I told him, you know, let's just go on with what we have to do just to remove the cancer. At that point, I just said, let's just make sure that I live longer. I finally called my OBGYN at that point and told him that let's go on and proceed with treatment for my cancer. So what was done was I had my 3 chemo treatments. I rested for a month after that just for my body to heal from the chemo. On January 13, I had my operation. My reproductive organs were removed. The other ovary was removed, the fallopian tube, the uterus, everything was removed. And with that, I can't have kids anymore. That was done January 13. I was already recovering. I was in the regular room, and then one of the things that has to be done when healing is to get up, have therapy, and try to move so that my body would get used to moving again and my blood would start flowing as it's supposed to. But on the 3rd day, the time when I was supposed to be discharged, I was getting dizzy standing up. They allowed me to just stay on my bed. One thing I found out was that my blood pressure was going down. Later that day, I guess my blood pressure was constantly going down. And because of that, my nurse said, okay, we're gonna have to bring you to the direct observation unit. And I was brought there. The nurses put blood into me, I think like 4 bags of blood, but nothing was working. As for me, I was conscious the whole time, but I didn't exactly know what was going on. I was just complaining about my back pain. I was transferred to the ICU. ICU. I couldn't eat anything else except for ice chips. I was in the ICU. In the morning of the next day, there were a lot of tests that were done. There was probably there was an MRI or an x-ray done. It was found that I had a hematoma. That's why my blood pressure was going down really fast. I had to go back into the operating room so that they could fix that hematoma. I was broke open again. The medical professionals who were attending to me said that I had a lot of blood, and I saw that. There are a lot of things that I won't be telling you anymore. And good thing is that I had one of the best doctors. It's funny because the doctor in Kaiser who attended to me for the second operation was the brother of my doctor in UCI. That was fun to learn. I liked that doctor, so his brother being the one attending to me for the operation of the hematoma, it gave me more peace because I know that they're good. So I was brought back in, it was fixed. I was asleep the whole time. I had some relatives there. I had my brother, my husband, and one of my cousins. The doctors would tell my family, she's strong, thank God. When I was awake, I was trying to tell the people who were visiting me, and thank God I would have visitors during that time. That was pre-COVID. I would be telling my relatives or my visitors what happened, what the story was, and then I was just very talkative, like I guess how I usually am. I stayed for a few more days. The first operation was January 13. I was finally told on January 22 that I have no evidence of the disease. And so that was a relief, yes. And I was like, yeah, I don't have, after 3 chemo treatments and the surgery, I was healed. The only thing that I had to do left was to recover. The doctor did tell me though that I had to continue with the 3 last chemo treatments just to make sure. The important thing was that I was an ED. I was out on January 24 or 25 of the year 2020. It was great to know that I'm healed, and the doctor also said that there's little chance that it's gonna come back. I continued with the 3 chemo treatments, which ended in April. After that, I got to ring the bell. So that was a long story. I hope I didn't bore you guys. That was my cancer journey. It's been more than a year that I've been told that I've been an ED. Honestly, there are some people who would live thinking that what if it comes back? In my case, I choose not to live that way. I choose joy. What I choose to do now is to live my best life I can. I still take care of my parents, but I have other things that I can do. I serve at my small church. I help disciple. I help mentor the next generation. And I have this YouTube channel. Hopefully, this would be an encouragement to anyone who may be going through challenges. Know that even if you may be going through something, the Lord is with you. He is in control of everything. There's nothing else that I can cling on to. He is the only rock. He's the foundation of my life. The Lord is faithful. Here I am now, a year and a half later, my very first operation 2 years ago. I'm alive. And now, whenever I think about it, I'm thankful every day that I get to live. I'm thankful that I can walk, that my husband still has a companion. I get to go hiking. I still get to exercise. And every time we think about those things, my husband and I are like, yeah, you're still here. It's a blessing to be alive. And may we never take life for granted. The Lord has a plan for you. And for me, He still has a plan for me in this earth. Let's just remember that the Lord knows what He's doing. And I want to encourage you with that. This is my story. I'm sure you have your own trials. But know that God is in control of everything. Just cling on to that. If you've come to the end of this story, then thank you so much for listening. For our next episode, I am going to be sharing the different things that I learned through this whole cancer journey. There is a cause for a celebration of my channel. I have finally reached 100 subscribers. I do want to mention my 100th subscriber. Her name is Sam Bernabe. Thank you so much, Sam, for subscribing. And of course, for everyone else, thank you so much for supporting this channel. All of this is actually for you. And I hope that you'll continue to be encouraged by whatever we post here. Thank you so much again. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.